my first 2 weeks of my journey, I was writing down foods that I genuinely liked, and then I went back over that list and said, okay, now which one of these foods actually fit the criteria of what I can eat to get me to where I'm trying to go. That way I don't have to be, oh man, I gotta eat this salad, or oh, I can't wait till I'm off this diet. I can still look forward to eating because I genuinely like these foods and I don't have to feel guilty about it. And then eventually over time your palate starts to evolve and then you can appreciate other foods that you didn't care about before that you know is helping you. And I think that's the best route for anybody.
It's gonna be a fine day today, I can see. It's gonna be a fine day today, I can see. It's gonna be a fine day today for you and me.
What is up, everybody? This is Chase, and welcome back to the Wellness Center podcast, where we are destigmatizing mental health one episode at a time. Everyone, I am so grateful that you joined me today. Thank you for joining me to experience another amazing story of resilience and hardship and all of the beautiful blessings and skills that come from it, guys. I am so pumped to have my guest on the show today. This guy is an absolute rock star. And so before I get to introducing him, I just have a few things I want to ask of you as the listener. The first, our goal, right, is 500 subscribers. At the time of recording this, we're at about 145. So please make sure to smash that subscribe and share button. I invite you, as you're listening to this episode, think of one or two people that you know could benefit from the lessons that are going to be taught from my guy today. And please share this episode with them, not only to let them know that you care, but so we can grow the Wellness Center tribe together. Again, smash the subscribe button. We're getting closer to the goal every episode. And the last thing that I ask, guys, is listen all the way through. Every story, every moment of resilience is a nugget of gold from every person, and it's our job to celebrate them. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my rock star guest. So guys, my guy, he lost 60 pounds in 60 days in a weight loss journey, nearly 100 pounds together. He reversed hypertension naturally. He beat pre-diabetes without any medication whatsoever. He learned how to lower his cholesterol in healthy levels naturally. He also has gained extensive knowledge on health and wellness, and he is eager to share his transformation and all of the principles that he's learned beyond weight loss. So without further ado, I have Blaqamore Hampton. Blaqamore, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, man. Even better now that I'm on the show. How you doing?
Good, bro. Doing so good. And just to make sure, did I say your name right, Blaqamore?
Blaqamore.
Blaqamore. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. But no, Blaqamore, dude, thank you so much for your time to come on the show, man. It's a truly an honor of mine to celebrate you today.
Thanks for having me on.
Dude, my pleasure, man. So, hey, just to give us some cookie cutter answers as to who you are and what you're all about, could you share some of those with us?
Yeah, so my name's Blaqamore. I used to say I'm a health and fitness coach, but I've been called so many types of insert adjective coach that I'm gonna just say I'm just a coach in general. Health is probably like most important to me personally, but I help people with general life stuff and money, financial literacy, and everything else. And like you said earlier, I had my own health journey, which got me on this path, and why it's the most important to me, because ain't nothing more important than your time here on planet Earth while we're here and making the most of that. And like with my own transformation, the high I felt after being able to achieve it, especially without being hooked on any medicine, I got such a crazy high off of life. I'm still high to this day off of it 7 years later. And it's like when you first, well, I don't do drugs, but I'd imagine when people first do some type of drug, or like when people first find like their Lord and Savior, you just want to share it with everybody. That's where I'm at now. I just want to keep running my mouth about it and telling everybody.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love that you want to share your journey, right? That's what it's all about. We come to this earth so we can be given lessons so then we can share them. But I'm curious, man, you talked about like all of these different like title, insert adjective here, right? What has been like one of your favorite coaching titles, and what's been one of your least favorite coaching titles?
Well, the one that's been coming the most recently is life coach. And I know I've never referred to myself as a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it interesting because, like you see my Instagram, I brand myself as a health and fitness coach, but people who follow me in their mind to perceive me as a life coach tells me that I'm helping in other areas other than just helping them get their diet right. So I took some pride in that. I don't really have probably the least favorite, maybe a therapist. Just like, I don't know, I ain't signed up for that. I know I can be a good listener and all, but but it's
Yeah,
all good either way.
I can absolutely appreciate that. The joke I tell people sometimes is that I'm a bootleg therapist. Right.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't have the credentials, but I can listen.
Right.
So no, dude, that's super cool, man. So like I guess what kind of like I know you went on the weight loss journey. I think let's just get right into some of these really cool questions that I have for you, Blaqamore. So take us back to a young Blaqamore. When were some of the first times that you struggled with your mental health?
My mental health
Yeah.
that I was aware of, because we probably struggled our whole life, right? But
Right.
so actually, I kind of started a little later in my life.
Okay.
I started coaching, really not too long ago, just like 2 years ago now.
Okay.
As far as the health and fitness is concerned, I've been coaching people with financial literacy primarily first. I recently switched to health and fitness. So, I had some clients and I was getting 50-50 results. Half of them got the results, the other half will like just give up and say it didn't work, which wasn't good enough to me because that's like a coin flip. So I'm like, okay, how come, how come these people got it and these other people didn't? And I realized the common denominator was just like where their head was at the time. So that made me revisit my own story, my own journey. Because at first I just attributed to I went vegan. I thought the vegan diet saved me, but I
Mhm.
seen other diets help everybody, so it can't just be that. I seen keto help people. I seen carnivore help people. I seen Mediterranean. So it's told me it's something deeper than that. And I remember like I spent an above average amount of time like meditating and practicing living my life before I stepped out the house. And like the inspiration I had, because my blood pressure was so high, I didn't know if I would live to see my daughter graduate high school. I just had my first daughter less than a year before I found out my blood pressure was high. So after realizing that, like, okay, it was more mental. And then like I guess I was kind of healing myself mentally at the time and didn't realize it. I believe just like if you're physically out of shape, I believe most of America is mentally out of shape. So when they go through something, it feels so hard and they feel like, it's trauma, it's all this trauma they got to deal with and, all the healing people need to do. And I'm not saying people don't go through things, but, lifting up a 30-pound dumbbell is way easier for some people than it is other people, depending on your fitness level. So when we go through things in life, it may be easier for some people who have the mental fitness to go through it than other people. And that's when I kind of started looking at the brain, not too different from the body. There's mental exercises we can do to help get it in shape and improve its resilience as opposed to letting it atrophy like we do our muscles when we sit and watching Netflix all day, every day. The same thing is happening to our brain. So I kind of, I guess, retroactively realized like like, oh, I was working on my brain. That's why, because you mentioned me going losing 60 pounds in 60 days, but if
Mhm.
we zoom out, I struggled with my weight for almost 5 years prior to that. It really took me 5 years to lose 10 pounds if we zoom out. I stepped on the scale.
Yeah.
I stepped on the scale, seen a number I'd never seen before. I said, okay, I gotta lose like 10 pounds. I lost the 10 pounds. And then, that was easy. I said, okay, cool. So I go back to my old natural ways. And when that happens, you put the weight back on. And I put back on like 12 pounds. I'm like, well, I lost 10 easy before I get to it when I get to it. And then I would lose a little bit, gain a lot of bit, lose a little bit, gain a lot of bit. And then it was like, oh, dang, how come this is kind of crazy? I've been in this cycle for almost 5 years. What's going on? And then when I seen the blood pressure, that just made me take a whole different approach. I didn't even care about the weight. I just cared about getting my blood pressure right. And it's like, okay, how can why do I think it's okay to eat a whole tub of sherbet at night? Like that can't be normal, you know. And it's really like it's a form of self-medication. We don't look at junk foods as drugs, but they kind of are because it's not actual food. The definition of a drug is something that's not nourishing the body that you're consuming. And that's what I would call chips and cookies and ice cream. That's not nourishing, but you
No.
put it in your body and it makes you feel good and it alters your neurochemistry, makes you feel a little bit better.
Right.
And I basically was a drug addict to food. And I knew I had to fix my brain and my mindset to get off of the drugs that people call junk food. And once that kind of clicked for me, I think, and that may be why my transformation was kind of fast because I wasn't big my whole life. I put all that on the 5 years prior. So I lost the 50 pounds that I gained over those 5 years, plus the 10 pounds I initially tried to lose in the first 60 days. And then over time, I kind of plateaued. And over time, I lost like another almost 30 pounds. And that's pretty much at the weight I've been this whole time. So I think the most important part about my journey is not that I lost that weight so fast, but I kept it off. Because a lot of people, they lose weight, they put it back on, lose weight, put it back on, because they didn't deal with the mind first.
Yeah. Dude, I love that
Did
you
I answer
mentioned.
your question? Because I know I went all over the place.
No, bro, you answered it perfectly. Thank you so much. And I got a couple questions for you too. So like, I know you talk about how like America specifically, like mentally, we are just like underprepared right now. We're undertrained. Why do you think that is?
I think, well, first of all, we're a first world country. So, we kind of pamper. We kind of like, you know, it's so much to do. And it's so much marketing and sales, and we so easily manipulated in
Mhm.
social media and all these things, and it's so many. It's a whole lot of food companies and drug companies is marketing to us all day, every day. We get marketed to with 10 different drug companies and 15 different snack companies every day.
Every
That
single day.
alone, that alone is going to have a unhealthy impact on us most likely. And then when you just add in the economics of everything in general. Like, it's a lot of stress. We have incentive to do these drugs. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah.
life is hard. It's a lot of life skills we don't have. Whether we're talking about relationships, whether we're talking about regular friendships, whether we're talking about the relationship with yourself, which is the most important. Um, yeah, it's like, because even like in most countries, it's not even legal to show a medicine commercial to just some regular person at home while you're watching Hulu. That's not even normal. That's just no normal. It's only like 3 or 4 countries on the planet where that's normal. So a combination of all of that, and plus the more I've been learning about how the brain works recently and how subtle yet super effective like persuasion and marketing can be, we don't even like it's crazy, and
That
we don't even
subconscious
know.
training. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't even know. Like, dang, I've been manipulated my whole life. You don't even know. By the time
Yeah.
you find out, it's like too late. You're already addicted to the crack. So what you gonna do?
You've been groomed from a very young age to love Oreos, whether you want to or not.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
That makes so much sense, dude. And I love that you talk about food being a drug because it absolutely is. Like you think
yeah.
about like all of the sugars and all of the additives that they're putting in food nowadays. How
hmm
could you not get hooked on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Cheating. Like I remember reading the art. I remember reading something about how McDonald's uh do they like taste testing thing or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's not like they just grab some people and say, yo, take a bite of this burger and rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. No, they got like this special technology hooked up to like, I think it's probably like a simulated brain these days, but they basically are seeing which of their foods produces the most dopamine in the brain. Like you can't, you don't stand a chance.
Not
You
at all.
don't stand a chance. So yes, it's crazy. So that's why, like, with my kids, when I came into consciousness of that, like with my kids, I'm super. I don't mind them eating some junk food later, but I just want them to have a fighting chance. Because if you want to enjoy, I believe in balance. You can participate in evil here and there as long as you can control yourself. But to just have them straight out the gate eating white bread and the prepackaged, pre-flavored oatmeal, and wondering why they acting a fool at school because they doped up on sugar. You know.
Yeah, dude, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure we could spend a lot of time talking about foods because it's such a
Yeah.
fun thing. But so I've got a question for you too about kind of like dieting, because I know earlier you were talking about like the different types of diets people do. Um, what in your opinion is more important? Good diets or consistency?
Consistency all day. The only to me the only diet that's good is the diet you're gonna stick to, and a combination of the one you're gonna stick to and has the most whole foods in it. Whatever the best balance you can get at that, that's always gonna be the best diet for whatever particular human being. Because I used to be the reputations of vegans, and I was almost somewhat like that. But I think I'm a student of the game, so I'm always studying and I'm always challenging my beliefs and seeing what really holds and what doesn't, and just trying to help as many people as I can. And one thing that kind of struck me was, I can't remember the number, but like I think only like 3 or 4% of the population is vegan. So I'm like, okay, if I'm really trying to help people, I ain't got a fighting chance going against 96, 97% of the grain. So I had to ask myself, is it possible? And they're like, okay, well, actually, it's very freaking possible. Okay, cool. So I don't even have to be the annoying vegan guy. Cool.
Cool.
Is Whole foods is more important in general, and then just whatever style of whole foods your diet is, we just take it from there. And then it's like, okay, so what's your favorite whole foods? And just build off of that. So yeah, the diet that you stick to and that you're going to be the most consistent. Because that's even how I did mine. I wrote, I used to write, like in my first 2 weeks of my journey, I was writing down foods that I genuinely liked. And then I went back over that list and said, okay, now which one of these foods actually fit the criteria of what I can eat to get me to where I'm trying to go. So that way I don't have to be, oh man, I gotta eat this salad, or oh, I can't wait till I'm off this diet. I can still look forward to eating because I genuinely like these foods and I don't have to feel guilty about it. And then eventually over time, your palate starts to evolve and then you can appreciate other foods that you didn't care about before that you know is helping you. And I think that's the best route for anybody.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, it's super truth. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that truth there, bro. So my next question for you. So you get up to this point, you go to the doctor, your blood sugar levels, or your blood pressure is way too high. So you have to go through this hero's journey of losing all this weight. Can you describe for us what that hero's journey looked like for you? Kind of like how it started, how you got into it, what it's turned into. Yeah, what's been your hero's journey?
Yeah. So like my whole life, like I said before, I didn't struggle with weight. I was skinnier then than I am today, right?
Mhm.
And I first learned about my cholesterol. I was 19 years old and skinny. So that already tells me, it's not just, just because you're skinny don't mean you're healthy. 19 years old is a crazy age to have cholesterol problems because I always ate crazy and I thought I was just one of the lucky people who could eat whatever they want for the rest of their life and never get fat. And I got into a rude awakening later on.
Mhm.
So, I had my first daughter in 2016, my first child period in 2016. And I was putting on a little weight. I was living in Atlanta. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I
Mhm.
moved to Atlanta. I got access to restaurants that's not in Omaha, Nebraska. And some of these restaurants are open 24 hours, and I don't live too far away from these restaurants. So Waffle House down the street. I'm walking down there at 2 in the morning every night.
Dude, I love Waffle House. So I'm in Utah. So when you said Nebraska, I'm like, oh, you're just right next door. But like, so I lived in Arkansas and Missouri for some time, and like
Oh,
the
okay.
first time I met like what was it called? It was a burger and shake joint, super super good. But I remember Waffle House. Those 2 in the morning Waffle House trips are
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah. So so this is taking a super toll on my health. It's a combination of that and just like a whole lot of transitions. I moved cities and states. My financial situation had changed drastically. And then it changed drastically again on the other end for the worse. And then I come back to Omaha, Nebraska. I have a daughter. So a combination of that stress and that crazy eating was taking a toll on my health, and I'm gaining weight, and people starting to tell me I'm fat and stuff like that. And I remember one time in particular, I'm at a bar or a lounge or whatever, and this woman, she was drinking, so she's just having fun. And then she was like dancing, and she did like, this is embarrassing, but I went through it. But she did like this to my chest, like, ooh, man boobies. And I said, no, can't nobody do that. I got to do something about this.
No.
I got to do something about it. But mind you, this is right after I found out this is the same day I learned about my blood pressure. So I'm
Mhm.
already on I got to do something. I go out that night and then this happened. Like, okay, now y'all playing with my pride and my ego. Now we can't have
Gotta fix this now.
this. Got to. So I was already even kind of trying to lose weight and studying and stuff, but like that's when the light really switched on because my blood pressure was 170 something over 100 something. My dad got high blood pressure. Both of my parents got diabetes. My mom's mom, had high blood pressure. And one of my friends in Atlanta, he had high blood pressure too. But I remember him saying how he didn't have to take his blood pressure no more. Everybody else I knew had high blood pressure. They was on the medicine their whole life and feet swelling up and all that. And I said, okay, what's the difference between my friend and them? He switched up his diet. I remember we went to I used to clown him for it. We went to Arby's one time, and I got my bacon chicken Swiss, whatever it was called, with the curly fries, and the curly fries was amazing. and he ordered some apple slices. I said, what type of man goes to Arby's and order apple slices? But but once I learned about my blood pressure, like, okay, so he switched up his diet. So I mean, it's possible to do this with food. So I immediately went on a 3-day walk. The next day, after learning about my blood pressure and getting my chest scrolls on like the boobs, I went on a 3-day water fast. I didn't eat any food. I only drank water. And during this 3-day water fast, I'm reading every nutritional study that PubMed and them has to offer. I'm watching YouTube testimonials and all of that. And I'm just immersing myself in this health transformation energy type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and then when I broke my fast, my goal every day was I was just taking it one meal at a time. I said, if let me just figure out what's a breakfast I can eat that I don't feel guilty about. And if I can make it even taste good, extra bonus points. Okay. Ooh, we did breakfast good. Okay, I had some oatmeal with some fruit in it and some pepitas, all whole foods. I don't feel any guilt about that. I made it. Pat on the back for me. Now let's see if I could do lunch. And I would just get like a big ass. Oh, my bad. I don't know if I could. Sorry, my bad. Pardon my language. But I get a big old thing, a big bunch of spinach, and put a bunch of different fruits and some walnuts on it, and some chia seeds. And I made my own dressing out of like some cashews and stuff like that, and put it in the blender and make my sauce with it. Okay, I had a guilt-free lunch. Let's see if I can do dinner. And then I would just have like some beans and potatoes and stuff like that. And I just kept trying to just work on one meal at a time every day. And then eventually I kind of subconsciously just built the habits. And then next thing I know, it kind of became it. And I didn't I really felt the victory when I don't know if you check my Instagram, if you see my very first post, I'm wearing all black and I got my arms open like this and I'm smiling like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the day that my blood pressure was at normal level. Well, it wasn't almost normal. It was about 131/82 or something, but it's the lowest it had been. It wasn't no 170, nothing over 100, nothing. And that was also the day I was like, I got on the scale before I drove to Atlanta. I said, dang, I lost like 60 pounds in 60 days. This is crazy. So that was like the day. So I weighed myself, I took my blood pressure. Oh, that was great. I'm talking to my mom. My mom's a nurse. Like, did I do this right? And she's like, she giving me the instructions. We did it on FaceTime. We did it 5, 6 times just to make sure. So I'm elated. I'm driving to Atlanta with a smile on my face. And when I get to the family reunion, where there's all this soul food, all this macaroni and cheese and fried chicken and all these things. And one of my cousins, I don't know, this is family reunion, so I don't know everybody like that, but she offered me some macaroni and cheese, which was like my favorite food. And I was able to say no and not feel any temptation. And that's when I felt like I really won, because it was like, oh, I am this person. Like, I'm this person that realizes that that's not good for me, and I'm not even going to deal with that because it almost disgusts me now. I made it.
You
So
made it.
that was it. That's when it was like the real, like I passed the test, if you will, and I knew I could be like this forever and didn't have to worry about relapsing one day.
Dude, I love all of the energy that I feel just coming through the screen. Like if I can feel it, I know other people can feel it. So dude, I love how infectious your energy is, man. Thank you. Dude, what an
Appreciate that.
incredible journey, man. I got 2 questions for you. So the first, like one thing that I've seen is pretty apparent throughout this interview with you, dude, is that you're really good at asking questions. Right. A lot of what I've learned and what I've experienced in my own life is a lot of people have a hard time asking the tough questions, right? They get into this place of complacency. Like where do you think you developed that ability to ask the questions?
That's a good question within itself. I don't know, because I asked that myself. Well, I'm lying. Well, because this kind of answers my. Remember, I told you I should coach people with financial literacy. I started off
Right.
trading stocks, right? So, and my very first stock purchase was in Pepsi, and it happened to be a good purchase. I invested $500. It did some type of bottling deal and ended up jumping 20% overnight. I made $100 legally within a week. I never done nothing like that before without trading my time for it or risking my freedom for it. I said, oh, so cool. Then my next stock trade, I made like $300 literally overnight. That was literally overnight. And then my third stock trade, I bought some penny stock and I made like $5,000 in 15 minutes. I just happened to get it right on the pump and dump. So in my mind, I figured out life. I don't need to finish college. I don't need to get no job, no nothing. I'm gonna just do this for the rest of my life, right? But what happened was I started off lucky, which is, I guess, I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate. So I'm thinking I could just do this all the time, and I ended up losing it all. But now I'm addicted to it because I know I can win. So I go out, I do whatever I got to do to get money. I put it all in stock market, lose it, get some more money, put it all in stock market, lose it, get some more money, put it in stock market, lose it, and lose it. So I had to start questioning, like, okay, why do I think this stock is going to go up? And I had to be honest, because if I'm not honest, I can't, it's not going to go up because I want it to go up. I can't read these articles and fall for the dream being sold to me just because I want to be rich. That doesn't mean the stock is going to go up. I have to really ask the real questions of what is going to cause this to go up or go down or whatever. And I think it may have came from that, because I'm like, if I don't find out the right questions to ask, I'm going to end up living under a bridge, asking people for a quarter so I can go buy me a beer or whatever. And I don't want
Yeah.
to life. So I think it may have kind of started there, as far as realizing what are the real underlying questions that I really need to have answered to make this work. Because I remember, even like with the stock thing, I was stuck in that cycle for years. I probably blew up hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years just losing money in that. And I remember one day I'd seen the price of Apple in Ulta Beauty Store, and they was like 5x what they were when I first started. And I remember thinking, if I would have just continued the way I started, like when I bought Pepsi, buying real companies instead of shady penny stocks trying to get rich overnight, not only would I have not lost all the money I had, I would have potentially 5x'd it all this time. If I'd have just been patient and invested in real companies, like all the people I was learning from saying to do so, like Warren Buffett and all of them. So I think it may have came from there. That and the combination of my grandfather is naturally like that too. He's a naturally inquisitive man, so it might be in me too a little bit. But I think that's a combination of those two is where it came from. Maybe.
That's super cool, man. Do you feel like your grandpa played like a pretty pivotal role in your life?
I'm starting to feel that more recently because he was a psychologist, and recently I've learned that I've been more interested than I thought I'd ever be in psychology, and guess more effective than I thought I'd be in that area. Like when I consult with my clients and we have more of like a mental session or whatever, it seems to be coming naturally to me. So I am kind of starting to believe that, especially recently.
That's super cool, dude. That's super cool. Yeah, I think grandparents are so important in the lives of children, whether they know it or not. And
Yeah.
and dude, and that's yeah, super cool, dude. You've had such an amazing life. I love it. So many awesome experiences. So,
Appreciate that.
dude, through this hero's journey, you obviously developed some skills. So what skills did you initially develop, and how have they evolved up to this point in your life?
I think the most important skill that anybody, I don't know if I'm saying this because of recency bias, but I feel like the most important skill somebody could develop is doing the mental exercises. Just like how we could do squats, bench press, and deadlifts to get stronger with our body, we could do visualization and self-talk and other mental exercises to get us through literally anything in life, or to achieve literally any goal that doesn't defy the laws of physics. If it doesn't defy the laws of physics, it's at least possible. And it's just a matter of your mental fortitude of how bad you want it, and figuring out the right questions to ask, what skills you need to develop to get there. So I think mental exercises, just understanding that and just practicing these mental exercises every day. I think that's probably, I don't know if that's considered a skill, but I don't know if that's a trait, a skill, or an
100% a
activity.
skill.
Yeah, whatever we want to call that, I think that's the most important. But I don't know if I'm thinking that just because I kind of came to that epiphany recently, or if that's the truth, but I feel like it's the truth.
Dude, I think it's the truth as well. So like for those mental skills, right? Those mental like trainings, what were some of the first mental trainings that you started doing to help you in your hero's journey, and how have they evolved up to this point?
The very first thing, the basis, was meditation. I don't know about you, but I used to get in trouble in school a lot. And so in junior high, I spent a lot of time in in-school suspension. I don't know if you've ever been in in-school suspension, but it's like the precursor to prison. Just sitting in this room all day, facing the wall. You can't talk, you can't do nothing. All you can do is your homework and read. So, like most people who go to jail, that's where I've studied the Bible and the Quran at. So I used to bring a Bible with me, and I would read like the Gospels, Matthew, Luke, and John, and Mark. And I just remember one of the scriptures, like Jesus saying, like, you should meditate day and night. And for some reason, that scripture stuck out to me. And then I started like reading other like spiritual practices, and like I studied like the Meta Nature. I don't know if you heard of that. Like that came from kind of like ancient Kemet and stuff.
Mm.
And in this book, it talked about meditation and getting access to what in the book called like the subjective realm, just like clearing your mind. So I would like practice that. And but you know, later I learned that like, you know, when you do practice meditation, your brain can go in these alpha wave states instead of the beta wave state. And then when it's in the alpha wave state or even the theta wave state, it becomes a little more suggestive. So when you're in a meditative state and then you practice visualization while your brain is in those states, it's a little more potent than just like imagining it. But like when you're in a meditative state, I feel like it's way more efficient. So I will kind of like combine that meditation state with visualizing. Like remember I told you I would like practice living my life before I stepped outside during that journey. Like if I knew I was about to go somewhere and maybe it's like a barbecue where I'm going somewhere where I know there's going to be food I'm tempted to eat or drink that I shouldn't be having, I will literally practice resisting that food, practice saying no, and trying to even imagine how I would feel and knowing that I'm gonna be really tempted. I would like practice having those feelings in this meditation state, and just practice saying no and practice, you know, going over to where the watermelon's at or where the, you know, there's something better at, or like what can I do when I get there so I don't look like a super oddball. I will literally have to just practice living my life before I step outside. That's probably the number one thing. That's like the squats of mental exercises to me.
I
is
love it.
of just that visualization. And if there was I guess like the deadlifts of it, I would say it's self-talk. You notice, I don't know how much you pay attention to certain athletes, but anytime you see Michael Jordan, if you see some old clips of him practicing or even playing, or Floyd Mayweather when he's in the gym practicing, they're always talking to themselves. They're like that self-talk. That is, or even like I challenge anybody, especially like if you play basketball, because I just did this yesterday. I was outside shooting and I shot like 12 bricks in a row. I started self-talking. I was like, okay, you know, you're putting your legs, put your legs into it some more. You know, release at the top of the jump. Put your legs into it. Put your legs into it. And swish, just the self-talk. Because when you don't, I feel like when you don't say it out loud, we got a bunch of different voices in our mind. There's a voice saying you can't do it. There's another voice saying you can do it. There's another voice saying why you doing this in the first place. But when you just say it out loud, that's the voice you focus on. You could pick which voice you want to focus on, say it out loud, and then only your brain can focus on that, and then you respond. Your brain, your conscious and your subconscious mind responds. It's more than just. I believe it's more than just affirmations. Just because I feel like you can literally self-talk yourself into or out of anything that you want to do.
Dude, I love that, man. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for sharing, bro. And next question for you, bro, like looking back at like your whole journey that you had to go through, like everything up to, you know, through school, through the weight journey, through the blood pressure journey, through the meditation, everything. What can you appreciate about everything you've had to go through?
Um, Put me in a position to have this interview. Going through a lot of these things. So it's not like you're not just somebody saying you should do this and you should do that, but you ain't been through what they've been through, so you don't know what they feel. But when you go through those things, so you know, and I forget the country, but you know, some countries they have different words for no. There's the no because you studied it and read a book about it. Then there's a no because you actually been through it. So to have these experiences and come out of these experiences with a victory, so now you know the path, and then be able to share those journeys with others, the emotional nuances that go through it, because you know how they feel, so you can really try to help coach them through it. And I feel like, you know, if you can go through a tribulation and make it out, and then share that journey with as many people as you can before you leave. I don't know another way to do your part in trying to make the world a better place. That's like like I feel like that's the point.
Yeah, dude. I think there's such a big difference between book smarts and street smarts.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Don't get me wrong. I love book smarts, right? I'm a total nerd,
Right.
but being able to
Yeah, me
actually
too.
apply it in real life is so powerful.
Yeah.
No, I
Yes,
love it.
indeed.
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it, man. So my last big question for you, for those just discovering the realm of mental health, what advice do you have for those people?
Uh, Try some mental exercises that work for you. I would say meditation and self-talk is my top two. And just like how you have a workout regimen, just like how you're gonna make sure you do your squats and your bench press and your deadlifts 3 times a week or whatever, do the same thing with your brain. But with your brain, You know, your brain doesn't strain and doesn't need time to recover. Like you do some deadlifts, you might want to take a day or 2 or 3 off. But your brain, you ain't gotta do that. You can do it as many times throughout the day, and the more you do it, the stronger you be. And just watch the mental fortitude you have. And even in addition to that, the third thing is called a success journal, where you just write down a minimum, not limited to, but a minimum of 3 wins that you had throughout the day, even if they small. How powerful that is to just kind of keep your mind focused on how much of a winner you are, because we all are. Everybody, no matter how bad your day is, you got 3 wins in, even if they small. You got at least three, and when you train your brain to go back and find those wins, all of a sudden you notice like your consciousness changes. Like we see what we focus on. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't even know if you believe in the Bible like that. And I don't think you have to appreciate this story. It's a story of Hagar in Genesis 21, where she's in the desert and they about dehydrated, ready to die, and she's calling the guy like, "Yo, help somebody, help a woman out, please help me." And long story short, she did the good or whatever, and God was pleased. And it says that God made it where she could see the well, and then she was able to get hydrated and drink the water, which shows that it was already there, but she just couldn't see it because of what she was focused on. She was focused on the wrong thing. If I tell you to look around the room and look for the color red, that's probably all you're going to see. But you didn't notice the blue that was in the room. But if I tell you to go focus on blue, then you'll see that, but you didn't notice all the other colors. So when you keep that success journal, and it kind of just trains your brain to stay focused on the win, stay focused on the success, and you just become the winner and you win at life. So that's the best advice I can give. Hopefully that answers the question.
Dude, I love that. Thank you so much. And one more question I have for you too. For those people that have a hard time like asking questions, I know we talked about that a little bit earlier. What's a good way that people can learn to start asking those hard questions of themselves?
Now that I don't know how qualified I am to answer that, because I feel like experience is just it. Because in my in my situation, I just looked at it like if I don't figure out, if I'm not honest with myself, if I'm not honest about how this goes, I'm going to end up under a bridge. Like those was the
Yeah.
stakes. You got to raise the stakes. Well, sometimes you don't have to sometimes the stakes is just really that high, and sometimes I don't think we understand how high the stakes are with different situations in life. Like, for example, like I do coaching, and sometimes when I'm doing the calls to see if it'll be a good fit, if I should take somebody on as a client, sometimes the question I ask is, like, if you don't do nothing about this, have you ever thought about what could happen and where you could be at in the next 5 years, or even if you may even still be here in the next 5 years, because you got this going on, you got that going on, you're on a path to need a new kidney or a heart transplant or whatever. And a lot of times we don't be asking ourselves those type of questions. Even just asking that, just ask yourself, the road you're on now, in all likelihood, where does that lead you? Be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. Where is the most likely trajectory 5 years from now? And if it's not a place you want to be, I think that your subconscious will tell you the questions that you need to ask to fix it. I think if you have any interest of living and enjoying your life.
Yeah, dude, I love that. So self-awareness essentially is what you're saying.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Dude, I love that. Well, Blaqamore, dude, thank you so much, bro, for coming on and sharing your story and your energy and your humor and all of your experiences, man. You have been a complete joy to have on the show.
I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me on the platform, and thanks for being patient with me, because I know I was a little late today.
Hey, dude, it's, I'm a firm believer that you're a human living a human experience, and we were supposed to start 5 minutes late specifically just because we did.
I love that. I love that perspective.
Yeah, I call it rigorous acceptance, right? All things are as they should be because they are. Right. So
Powerful.
yeah, thanks, Blaqamore. I appreciate it. But dude, so for people, like, I know people listening to this are going to say, dude, I want to hire Blaqamore to coach me, right? Because he's got all of it, right? He's got the energy, the knowledge, and the wisdom there. So where can people find you?
Blaqamore is Blaqamore. I'm on whatever social media platform you're on. I'm on everything. Blaqamore. And on every social media platform, I have a link that you can apply to see if we'll be a good fit. You just fill out the application. And even if we're not a good fit to work together one-on-one, there's some type of value I can give you, even if it's just a video I can send and I recorded. I'm gonna try to give you some type of value. So, or you can just go to blaqamore.com and that has all my links, so you can find me on whatever as well. So it's BLAQAMORE.com, and I'm anywhere you need to find me on the internet.
Perfect. And if anyone is like wants like an easier way to get to it as well, you can go down to the description, and all of those links will be in the description as well. So I'll make sure those are in there for you, Blaqamore. Well, bro, again, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And for everyone who tuned in to listen to Blaqamore's amazing story, I personally want to thank you for doing so. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, smash that follow button, smash that download button on whatever platform you're on. Please make sure to give me, if you're on Spotify or Apple, a 5-star review so more people can learn about the Wellness Center tribe, so more people can be helped, so more people can find resilience. Everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And my last invite to you is, if you want to come on my show, just understand that no story is too big, no name is too small. If you do have a story, I want to share it all, contact me at chase@thewellnesscenter.life, or you can go to my website, www.thewellnesscenter.life. And if you want to know more about what I do on a day-to-day basis, again, just go to www.thewellnesscenter.life, where we rejuvenate every single cell in your body through red light therapy, one session at a time. Thanks so much and have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.
Peace, y'all.